I'm sure you must have done the assignment questions yourself and you would have already tried the back questions. उसके solutions करते हैं. I'm going to say it again. अगर try नहीं किया तो पहले कर लो. Otherwise ये वाली video फ़ायदा नहीं करेगी. A is going to have a party at his home. He prefers to have the exact number of males and females at his party. His utility function is the form of minimum of 2x1 minus x2, 2x2 minus x1. This is हमने जो किंग के अंदर वाली वीडियो के अंदर जो हमने लास्ट क्वेश्चन किया था, लास्ट जो हमें क्वेश्चन किया था वो यही था. But let's just actually see what the question is asking us. ठीक है, x1 is the number of women and x2 is the number of men. Draw a locus point, the locus point where x is equal to y. X is equal to y मतलब x1 is equal to x2 at the 45-degree line. And A's IC, if his utility is 10 and shade the area where all the combinations are at least as well off as 10, 10. So let's take 10, 10. 10, 10. A's utility, हम लोगों ने IC already बनाया था, so I'm not going to teach you again. अगर confusion है तो please जाके एक बारी वो वाली वीडियो दोबारा देखो. So this is the IC when utility is 10. Shade the region where all the combinations are at least as well as of 10, 10. At least as well of मतलब ये वाला सारा region. क्यों? IC सारे इसमें ऊपर आएंगे ना, तो ये जो है ये मेरा यूटिलिटी कर्व है फॉर u is equal to 10. अगर आप बोलोगे एटलीस्ट एज वेल एज मतलब 10 और मोर, तो मैंने ये वाला रीजन शेड कर दिया. ठीक है. What does the following represent? What does it represent? These represent all the points जहाँ पे A's utility is minimum 10. मतलब men and women are at least 10 or more. क्योंकि अगर 10 से कम है तो यूटिलिटी 10 से कम हो जाएगी, हम नीचे आ जाएंगे, हम यहाँ पे नहीं. We are in the region where the utility is at least 10 or more. See, minimum is 2x1 minus x2, 2x2 minus x1, which is equal to 2x1 minus x2. हमें ये बनाना है, ये हम लोगों ने बनाया था. If you remember, in the last video we spoke about it. So this is my curve for the D part, and these are my curve for the E part. इसके अंदर हमारे पास क्या है? These lines are closer to the y-axis. These lines are closer to the x-axis. अभी देखने में same लग रहा है, but these lines are closer to the y-axis. These lines are closer to the x-axis. We had made this in that last video of the king. If A has 16 women as his party, and there are more men than women, and if he thinks that the party is as good as having 10 men and women, how many men does she have at the party if A has 16 women? ओके, अगर उसके पास 10 लोग होते तो होता 2 into 10 20 minus 10 या 2 into 10 minus 10, which means कि अगर उसके पास 10 का combination है, then his utility from that is 10. If he has a combination of 10 10, then his utility is 10. Now we are saying that in this function we are saying 10 is equal to minimum of 2x1, which is 2 into 16 minus x2, we don't know what x2 is, and 2x2 minus 16. Okay, it's a minimum of this, which means it's 32 minus x2 is equal to 10, in which case x2 should be 22, or it is 2x2 minus 16, which is equal to 10, which means x2 is 10 and plus 16 is 26 upon 2, which is 13. So अगर मैं 13 को यहाँ पे डालूंगी, so it can be either this or this. Right, let's see which one fits more. Minimum of 2 into 16 minus, let's say 22, 2 into 22 minus 16. So 2 into 16 is 32 minus 22 is 10, 22 into 2 is 44, 44 minus 16 is 28. Minimum is 10. So x2 जो है वो 22 वर्क करता है. दूसरा देखते हैं, minimum of 2 into 16 minus 13, 2 into 13 minus 16. 2 into 16 is 32. 32 minus 13 is 19. 13 into 2 is 26 minus 60 is 10. Minimum is still 10. So either of these two works. So x2 can be 22 or 13. मतलब अगर उसने देखा कि उसकी पार्टी में 16 there are 16 women, how many men? And there are more men than women. How more men? तो मतलब मेरे पास अगर 13 और 22 में ऑप्शन आ रहा है तो 13 तो हो ही नहीं सकता because I need a figure of more men than women. Then how many men will there be? 22. How many men will there be? 22. If A has 9 men and 10 women at his party and 5 more men come to his party, will A be better off or worse off? Let's see. अगर A के पास, so if A has 9 men and 10 women, then utility is 2 minimum of 2 into 10 20 minus 9 comma 2 into 9 18 minus 10, which is a 11 comma 8. So minimum is 8. So his utility from this is 8. And 5 more men came to the party, which means now x1 is 10 and x2 is 9 plus 5 14. Then my utility becomes minimum of 2x1, which is 20 minus 14, 2x2, which is 14 into 2 is 28 minus 10, which is a minimum of 6 or 18. The minimum is 6. So will A be better off or worse off? A will be worse off. A will be worse off. Right, so I hope this question is correct for you guys. Let's do the next one. A has preferences which are represented by U is equal to x1, x2 upon 100. x1, x2 upon 100. Sketch a graph if A is indifferent to having 8 units of good 1 and 2 units of good 2. 6 units of good 1 and 4 units of good 2. So she is indifferent between 8 comma 2 and 6 comma 4. 8 into 2 is 16, 6 into 4 is 24. Okay, so basically 8 into 2 is 16, which means that my IC is for 16 upon 100. Actually, I don't have to solve it like this. You know the reason I gave this question? Because I wanted you guys to have practiced the monotonic transformation, which means that my U is equal to x1, x2, which means it's a Cobb-Douglas. The moment I know that it's a Cobb-Douglas, I know my life is simple. I just have to draw these curves. So 8 comma 2 will be some point like this here, 8 comma 2, and this curve will give me a utility of 16 क्योंकि 8 into 16 होता है. दूसरा जो point आएगा that will be 6 comma 4, which will be some point here, और ये मुझे देगा utility 24 की. Right? So this is what my first part is. Very simple. The only trick is कि आपको monotonic transformation करना था. B has utility function of 1000 into A2 into B2. Draw his IC from the same data. It's the same IC. It is the same IC. The only difference is कि अब utility will be 16,000 and 24,000. But है तो same ही IC ना, क्योंकि इसको आप monotonic transformation करो तब भी आपके पास utility function क्या आ रहा है? A2 B2 or X1 X2 is the same utility function. Are the two ICs same? Yes. Comment, it's a monotonic transformation. The two ICs are exactly the same. There is no difference. It is just a monotonic transformation. So question number 2 के कुछ parts and 4 and 5 तो हमने पहले कर ही लिए थे. I want to do question number 6 here. ठीक है? U is equal to under root of x1 plus x2. No, plus नहीं है. x1 into x2. x1 into x2. What kind of preferences does it represent? These are Cobb-Douglas. How do I know that? I can do a square. When I do a square, it becomes x1, x2, which is a Cobb-Douglas. So that's how I know it's a Cobb-Douglas. Is the function v to be equal to x1 square x2 a monotonic transformation of this u? No. How do I know that? I should be able to do del v by del u. अब इसके अंदर क्या होगा? My v is not a function of u. ये मैं फॉर्म ही नहीं लेके आ पा रही क्योंकि जब मैं v को लिखूंगी तब मुझे उसको लिखना पड़ेगा u into x1. मेरे पास x1 रह गया ना, मैं इसको इस फॉर्म में लेके नहीं आ पा रही, इसलिए मैं ये वाले काम कर ही नहीं सकती. Which is why this is not a monotonic transformation of this. Similarly, they've given us another function which is w is equal to x1 square x2 square. Is this a monotonic transformation of u? Yes. Why? Because I can write W is equal to U square. The moment I can write it like this, the W is a complete function of U without any x1, x2. That means it's a monotonic ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन. सो ये मोनोटॉनिक ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन नहीं है इस फंक्शन की, बट ये इस फंक्शन की मोनोटॉनिक ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन है. सेकंड क्वेश्चन के बाकी पार्ट्स आप ट्राई कर सकते हो करना चाहो तो. अदरवाइज जब हम इसके सैम्पल पेपर्स करेंगे ना, उसमें एक क्वेश्चन आया हुआ है किसी ईयर में, वो एक क्वेश्चन बहुत है. सो दिस फिनिशेज माय चॉइस, दिस फिनिशेज माय यूटिलिटी चैप्टर. नेक्स्ट चैप्टर हमारा है चॉइस, जहाँ पे हम लोग कंजम्पशन बंडल निकालना शुरू करेंगे. ऑलराइट, थैंक यू.